According to the workers who escaped, after the terrorists infiltrated the National Archives through the loading gate on basement level 1 and destroyed the automatic security system, they took all of the employees in the facility hostage. They've gained control of the first floor lobby as well as the library floors 1 through 3.
Have there been any statements or demands from the criminals?
Not at the present time. However, they seem to be looking for the H88 report.
The H88 report? The one that conducted an investigation of General Michiba, the mastermind of the failed Far North Rebellion 20 years ago?
Yes, sir. Its designation as a state secret has been lifted, and it was transported here to the National Archives from the National Police Agency to prepare it for public release.
Major.
Go ahead and have command authority for the investigation transferred to Section 9. Everyone's been waiting for that document to be released, but for an armed terrorist group to attack, it makes me awfully suspicious.
Maybe they're conspiracy theorists who want the truth about what happened 20 years ago.
They would risk their own lives for it? Not likely. If you consider the social impact that the H88 report will have, as well as the timing of the attack, it looks like the perp is running scared over the possibility of that document being released.
What's this H8 report? Since we're going to be involved in the investigation, we'd like to input accurate information.
I never said anything about you working the investigation. Oh, never mind. 88 is short for National Police Agency Security Bureau Administrative Document, Classification Code Public Security Investigation H88. It's the report on the attempted rebellion in the far north that includes the testimony of General Michiba.
An attempted rebellion in the far north? You mean the armed uprising by the officers of the Fifth Army who tried to turn the far north, which we'd just taken back, into an independent state?
That's right. The Public Security Bureau tried to bury the whole thing way back then. But certain leaks about the affair came out, and that brought the incident to the public's attention. Now that the politicians see which way public opinion is blowing, they requested a public review of it. But the rebellion that Michiba and the others planned involved a lot of military secrets. So because the report contained sensitive material, it was classified as a state secret, and that designation remained on it for 20 years.
And tomorrow marks the 20th anniversary, huh?
We should be arriving above the National Archives in just a few moments.
Chief.
All right. I'm going to begin the mission briefing now.
An unknown terrorist group has attacked the National Archives and is barricaded inside with employees and security staff as hostages. Judging from the statement given by an escaped employee, we can surmise that the terrorist objective is to steal the National Police Agency Security Bureau Administrative Document H88, aka the H88 report. Your orders are to rescue the hostages, prevent the theft of the report, and uncover the ringleader's objective. Also, the terrorists are deployed from the first floor lobby through the basement with emphasis on defense. Once the infiltration team has entered through the second floor terrace and secured the above ground areas, make for underground locations under terrorist control.
Official documents are sleeping right beneath our feet, stored in electronic form. I can't wait to get this incident resolved because the sooner it's behind us, the sooner I'll be able to hook up to their database.
Tachikoma, don't run off on your own.
That's why I'm requesting appropriate orders.
In that case, we'll decide on a signal for when I want to give you an order. Is that all right with you?
mind at ease because you're in good hands with me.
I'll hold you to that.
What are you doing? Hurry up and get in there.
Roger. Let's go, Tachikoma. You've done a good job so far, but the hard part is up ahead. So stick close, and whatever you do, don't fall behind.
Did you learn anything?
Looks as though they were digging through papers all throughout the archives.
To throw the investigation into chaos?
I won't say that's not a possibility, but the all-important H88 report was left lying there looking like they read through it in a hurry.
If the enemy isn't after the report, what are they after?
Either way, our only option right now is to dig through this guy's brain.
Chief, I finally got an ID on the terrorists. These guys are ex-military. They're still running around with their unit ID codes left in their cyber brains. However, I came across traces of evidence indicating that their memories have been overwritten just prior to the assault.
So, someone cast a spell over them, huh?
If they're merely puppets, that means someone has to be hiding behind the curtain pulling the strings. Now we need to get those strings done. At any rate, get back here.
Roger.
Do you think it would be alright if I hooked up to the National Archives database now? Ah!
You've created quite a mess. The media is looking at this from the historical conspiracy perspective, saying that this was an operation cooked up by the government or some military faction to conceal military secrets from 20 years ago. But the public is used to having information concealed from them, so while they may feign righteous indignation right now, they'll forget about it as their daily lives offer more pressing concerns.
That doesn't sound like something that the chief of the Public Security General Affairs section would say. You're responsible for the handling of more top-secret information than anyone else. Anyway, why are you here? Are you here in your other role as chief of the JSDA Watch?
According to our operatives, there are indications that the ringleader has had connections with Russia ever since his days in the military. We kept him under surveillance even after his discharge, but just the other day he killed 2 of my men while trying to escape. However, I don't believe that he was the one who killed them.
So what are you telling me? That some third party who was using him killed your lookouts in order to set him free?
But unfortunately, he died before we were able to confirm that. Thanks to your people. Mr. Aramaki, I realize that your Section 9 is an independent agency that answers directly to the Prime Minister. It is an offensive anti-crime organization that has the power and capability to intervene in any crime. But yours isn't the only public security outfit. This isn't some war zone. When you stop at nothing to meet your objectives, it causes a serious backlash for all public security personnel, myself included. I ask that you bear that in mind. This is a warning from the Public Security's head of General Affairs. Who's that?
You used to work at Police HQ and you don't know? That's the great Chiki Kanbei, Public Security Head of General Affairs. He's also in charge of the Self-Defense Army Surveillance Squad, aka JSDA Watch.
He's supposed to be keeping an eye on the military. What's he stuck his nose into this for?
He's a man who got to where he is in public security today by being utterly single-minded. He's had it in for Section 9 ever since we were founded. It's hardly surprising that he'd come here to butt in. But what has me more concerned is that as the spy sent in by the JSDA Watch 20 years ago, he was the man responsible for uncovering the attempted Far North Rebellion.
He caught Michiba?
Everyone who works in public security knows about it.
So, the great spy's been pursuing the terrorists who were after the H88 memorandum, huh?
There are just too many points that link it to this incident.
Something tells me that this isn't over yet.
Major will be arriving at Better Totterday in 5 minutes. Should we land as planned at the Atorofu Support Police's heliport?
No, land at the civilian airfield we're using as a makeshift command post in Tachikoma hangar. I want to check over everything inside.
Roger.
Chief.
At the moment, Beru Tarube is being plagued by widespread acts of terrorism, but security for the ceremony and the guests will be assigned jointly. Both the 5th Army's 27th Division, which has a garrison here, and the Otorofu Support Police will be in charge of this. Our mission is to prevent the assassination of former Cabinet Minister Hiromo.
Have there been any demands from the terrorists after that, other than the death threat?
No.
But it was a long time ago when Hiromo pushed for developing the far north, back when he was Land Development Minister. Why would anybody threaten to kill him now? It doesn't make sense.
Publicly, Hiroma's retired from the party, but he's a big wheel who still has enough pull to meddle in political policy. He's got lots of enemies. It's not surprising that some of them would try to wipe him out and make it look like it had something to do with the far north.
No, there's probably some significance to carrying out the assassination in Beirut Tarobe, and especially at the handover commemoration ceremony. For one thing, the people of the far north never recognized the theft of the full authority over their own reconstruction as a handover. Even a snot-nosed kid knows that the ceremony is nothing but a performance meant to entertain the political bigwigs who are still suppressing their rights, and that includes Hiroma.
At any rate, your top priority is to root out any and all terrorists prior to Hiroma's arrival. You are here to do whatever it takes to prevent his assassination. Understood?
They say this better Tarubi place we're going to is an old-style cyberbrain city. I bet we can find an AI from an early think tank model used in World War III for dirt cheap. Let's get one as a souvenir.
Yeah, we promised to get something for the others back at the hangar.
I can already tell you what's gonna happen if we run off on our own and come back with a brain case that's still online. The Major's gonna go get mad at us.
The last time she got mad because we brought something back without asking.
Well, after all, stealing is wrong. And besides, we're basically government equipment. Ooh, I overheard something a while ago. What? Everyone in Section 9 is talking about us. They're going on about how we've developed too much. What's bad about that?
They're scared of the idea that we AIs have become too much like humans.
But Mr. Bato's on our side, isn't he? I hate to say it, but Mr. Bato does whatever the Major orders him to. What do you think we should do?
It's very simple. From now on, we need to pay close attention to our actions, but we should also avoid any unnecessary talking in front of humans.
In that case, I have a suggestion. From now on, whenever we talk, why don't we just use ultra-high frequencies? Humans can't hear those. I agree. Without further ado, I can hear something. Some people are talking.
What's this? Shisamu has come again? What will it be this time? Shibashikuru or Kararaku?
And Ukocharanke is out of the question? Huh? What's Ukocharanke mean? I showed that crow is listed as the meaning of Shibashikuru.
And Kararaku is the sound a crow makes.
What's it going to be this time, the crow or the crow's call? What's that mean? This is supposed to be our new home, huh? The hangar at Section 9 is way better. Oh, look at this, everybody! Check out all the weapons! Yay!
Allow me to introduce someone. This is Brigadier General Kusumoto. He's the commander of the 5th Army's 27th Division, which will be overseeing security at the ceremony in conjunction with the Etorofu Support Police. Since a military parade is planned as part of the event, the general is going to be in charge of your group as well.
How long has it been, Major Kusanagi? Not since Nemuro, I suppose.
I don't believe we've met before. Division Staff Officer Kusumoto.
You know each other?
We both served in the same operation to take back the far north, which had been occupied. The Major and her team drew the enemy away from our forces in Nemuro. You might say that thanks to their efforts, we were able to achieve our victory there.
As I recall, General Michiba was your commanding officer, wasn't he?
What are you implying?
Nothing.
The top brass did that all on their own. My division had nothing to do with it.
I'm aware of that.
Because of what he did, everyone in the division, right down to the enlisted soldiers, came under the suspicion of rebellion, and we were disbanded. We were bounced from post to post all throughout Honshu. We took part in the operation with your group after we reformed in the far north.
I apologize if I've touched a nerve.
Our duty is to keep the ceremony safe. We will spare no effort to assist you. I have just one word of warning for you and your men, Major. We are no longer attached to the same organization. I expect you to refrain from making unauthorized contact with any military personnel. You're also prohibited from entering military facilities. If you can't give me your word that you'll abide by this, I won't be able to guarantee your safety.
You have my word.
In any event, we're both in positions where our duty is to protect the state. I'll send you all the information we have on the terrorist we captured. I couldn't help but notice that you've brought think tanks along with you. I'll see that you get clearance to use our training dome. Please feel free to use it if you like. I'll have one of my men give you the location later. If you have any questions about something that turns up in the course of your investigation, contact us on our frequency. My men will see to it. Any questions?
None.
I wish you good luck.
What's his problem? Not the nicest guy in the world, is he?
The rumors are right. Bring up the fact that he served under General Michiba and the guy completely loses it.
Nevertheless, you mustn't forget that if it weren't for him, we wouldn't have been able to recapture the far north.
But he said that he would let us use their training dome, so the fellow can't be all bad. If he's putting himself at our disposal, it would only be polite for us to take him up on it.
How long have you guys been listening in?
The touchcoma's right. Don't focus on anything else. For now, just concentrate on your own mission.
Now that's more like it. Okay then, let's get right to it and go on patrol in Berutaru Bay.
You just want to gain experience points is more like it.
All right, fine. It's obvious that standing around here won't get anything done. Everyone grab a touchcoma. We're heading out. We're going into Berutaru Bay.
Yahoo!
All communications with the grandson of former commander of Russia's Far East Army, Sergei Ignashov, were suddenly cut off while he was sightseeing in the city. It's rumored that Ignashov had close ties with Hiruma when he was Minister of Land Development while the far north was being developed. This latest incident is also believed to have been committed by the terrorist group, which is connected to the assassination plot against Hiruma. Data obtained from the city's end system has determined that the kidnapper was the maid android accompanying the boy. It's unclear as to whether this is a malfunction or a criminal act as a result of external hacking. Proceed to the scene and rescue the kidnapping victim. Extraction of information from the maid android will be necessary. Therefore, make every effort not to destroy its brain case.
maid android that Tachikoma let get away is fleeing on foot. She's making her way through a low-rise building district not far from where you are. Since you're the closest to the scene, you can take it from here. Data received. It appears that Ignishov's grandson is hidden in one of the garbage cans in that area. His signal's encrypted, so we won't be able to quickly pinpoint his location that way. Looks like checking the bins one at a time will be the fastest way to go under the circumstances. I'll leave the dumpster diving to you.
deluxe model prosthetic body and an android made with hidden weapons, huh? Do retired Russian military men make enough to afford toys like that?
This is what he gets for using public funds to come here and go on a sightseeing flight with his grandson.
Do you suppose this is another terrorist act that's tied into the ceremony?
Considering that Ignishev was in charge of the far north back in Hero with the land development minister, it's certainly possible. Nonetheless, as crimes go, this is a pretty half-assed attempt. Ishikawa, I'm sending you the AI data from the maid android. There's a possibility that someone with another objective in mind planned this and tried to make it look like a robot revolt. Get to work on analyzing it right away.
Roger.
The former mayor of Berutaru, who has been missing since yesterday, was kidnapped by terrorists who have occupied the pier area and are keeping him isolated. Working through the media, the terrorists have announced that the former mayor had ties to Hiruma when he was a minister, as well as close ties with the business world. They have demanded an apology, but Hiruma shows no signs of being willing to discuss any terms with them at this time. There's a strong chance that this is tied to the terrorism related to the ceremony and that they're connected to the organization who made the death threat against Hiruma. Your orders are to neutralize the terrorists immediately and rescue the former mayor.
When you consider the kind of demands that terrorists make these days, demanding an apology from a politician is really awfully sweet.
Maybe, but what they're doing is outrageous.
Does this mean they were on close terms with Hiruma?
And why did they feel the need to kidnap a retired old man at this point? It just doesn't fit.
I suppose all we can do is ask Hiruma himself how big a psychological impact this man's kidnapping has had on him.
Knowing that geezer, he'll probably just say, I never met the man.
If you do anything to draw attention, you might compromise the mayor's safety and place his life in jeopardy. Bear that in mind while you're conducting your mission.
Roger.
From here on, act in complete secrecy until you've taken the former mayor into custody. There's a risk of the hostage being harmed. Proceed with extreme caution.
going back to the pickup point. Your priority is to keep the former mayor safe.
No luck. Most of the people we captured alive fried their own cyber brains.
Why did we go through the trouble of not shooting them in the heads?
Gosh, I see you're a pretty fair shot now too, Toga-san, my boy!
Who asked you?
It would seem that the previous mayor wasn't informed of the group's name either. And as for the weapons, they could all have been easily obtained in the junkyard district of Berutarube.
They must have had a very good reason for taking such an extreme measure as burning out their memories. It's imperative that we find out what it is that they were trying to hide.